Hey guys, welcome to the shack. So, what you're looking at here is an IBM Ethernet card, 32-bit microchannel card for my PS2. I just got this in the mail. I ordered this last week. I think this card is all of brand new. It just doesn't have any original packaging. This is a real IBM card, and if we can look here on the end. Sorry, I'm doing this by hand. This is kind of a quick and dirty video. It's hard to see, but there's an IBM part number right there. It is 48G7172, and everyone will take notice. Anybody who's into classic Macs will notice one of the ports on there is we got a 10 base 2, and then we got 10 base T or twisted pair, and then right in the middle, looky there, it's a mini AUI port, also known to us in the Mac world as an AAUI, an Apple AUI interface. So, in theory, if I get one of my Apple AUI adapters, it should work. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to. Now, I didn't get a disc with this card, so let me show you now what we do in order to get the proper software. And then we'll crack open the IBM and we'll install it, and I'll show you how to install the software. Okay, so I want to show you exactly what we do with these microchannel cards. So this is the MicroChannel enthusiast page. This page has been around since the mid-90s. It's not updated, unfortunately, but it is managed sort of by a gentleman in Germany by the name of Peter Wendt. He is very well known in the IBM world, to at least us IBM geeks, as one of the foremost authorities on IBMs. There's actually a couple different places to get these files. I just always go to Peter's website because he seems to have anything you need, and I can guarantee he doesn't have them all. So, but if anybody's into the PS2s, I definitely suggest checking out his site. It's mcamafia.de. As I said, he is in Germany. However, his website for the MCA page is in English, so and the man does speak good English, so I've actually talked to him on the telephone. Very nice guy. So there's a lot of information on this site about PS2s in general, but the thing we're really looking for is we're looking for an ADF file. It's called an adapter description file, and I know exactly which one I'm looking for, so that's easy. But I will show you in the computer how we can identify a card without actually if we don't know what we're looking for. So now I'm doing this on a Mac, so as you all know, that's what I use on a daily basis. My two main computers are both Macs, so I don't have a PC online to do this with. So the card that I'm looking for is the FFE0.ADF. And my air conditioner just kicked on. I apologize for the background noise. This is a quick and dirty thing, so I didn't go through the house and check anything. But the nice thing is years ago we actually took pictures of our cards. We actually just laid them right on scanners and scanned them. That's what we had to do back in the turn of the century. So, but if you bring up a picture of the card, you'll see that, and it's a very small picture, unfortunately. It doesn't really get any bigger than this, and I can't make it any bigger. But this is the card that I have. There's actually two versions. There's an older version and a newer version. I got the newer version. So that doesn't mean anything for functionality. It's still only 10 megs per second. There's very, very few and very, very rare 100 meg cards for the PS2. They do exist, but they're very rare. So, and truthfully, for what I'm going to be doing, 10 megs is more than sufficient. So, this is mainly going to be for top file transfer, more than anything. So, but visually identifying the card is an option if you know what you're looking for. I'm going to say there's roughly 2,500 ADF files on his site. I don't know an exact number, but so, but then what we can do is, since we know what card we're looking for, is I can go back down here. Since we're using Macs, at least I assume most of you are using Macs. Even if you're using a PC, it might be the same way. Now, I'm using Google Chrome to do this. And yes, I'm sure I'm going to get hate mail for that, but that's just what I use. So, I've been using it for over 10 years now. So, what I do is I just, I save the link as here, after right-clicking on the name of the file. And then the computer says it's an Amiga disk file. An ADF file, I guess, is automatically identified as an Amiga disk file. But all I do is I just go up here and I just add the .adf at the end of the file name up here, like so, and then save it. Now, this is actually a real floppy drive. It's a 1.44 meg USB floppy drive. So I've already saved the file. I already have the file. So I just wanted to show everybody who's getting into PS2s what you have to do to get these cards working. So at this point, now we're going to cut to the computer. We're going to open the back of the computer. We're actually going to install the MCA card just so you can see exactly how that goes. So hang tight. This might be a little bit of a long video because it's going to be very descriptive. So just be patient. All right, so here we got the back of the computer. Now I've already unplugged this parallel serial and the power cables from it, so save one step there. Now on the P70, there's 3 screws. And if you watch my first video on the computer, you'll know exactly that there's 2 of them on the bottom, and they're all flathead screws. Actually, if you go by the quick reference guide that comes with the computer, it tells you to use a coin to open it. IBM was very adamant about these computers being easy to upgrade and put user installable options in. So, sorry if the light's a little wonky here. I'm just moving it here. So, and then we're going to open her up here. And this is a little tricky, but it's not bad. It just pulls off. So, now like I said in the first video, there's 2 MicroChannel slots. There's a 32-bit slot here and a 16-bit slot here. This is a dual async card. I don't need this. So I have one serial port, which truthfully is being used by a mouse that I have a PS2 mouse port for. So eventually I'm going to not even need the serial port on the board. So we pulled the card out. I don't know why the ground wire's there. So there's a thumb screw here. You just loosen it up. Don't take it out, you just loosen it. So all we're going to do is we're just going to slide the card in like so, and we're just going to pop it down in like that, tighten this screw up, and we're just going to put the back case back on like so. I'm going to put all the screws back in. We're going to set the computer back up, and I'm going to show you exactly how to configure the card. Okay, so for sake of sanity, I hooked the computer up to an external monitor to make it easier to film. I hope. And this is on a 23-inch LCD monitor. This monitor is probably about 20 years newer than this computer. So right now we're booting the reference disk, and 165 means there's an adapter configuration error. So what we're going to do is we're going to load the reference disk. Okay, so this is what the reference disc actually looks like in real color. Like I said, this computer does display color, it's just not on the main screen. So right here, it actually tells you exactly what the error code is. It's saying 165, and it's saying if you've installed or removed an adapter, run automatic configuration. So if you have not installed or removed an adapter, do not run it and select test. Now we know we actually swapped one of the adapters out. So we're going to automatically configure the system. Alright, and it says automatic configuration is being run. Okay, so here we go. And it says the description file for the adapter in slot 1 was not found. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the reference disk out of the drive, and we're going to put the disk in that has our ADF file on it. Okay? And so the computer's read the ADF file, and we got to put this reference disk back in. So now it's finishing up automatic configuration. So when enter is pressed, the computer will restart itself. So let's restart. And here we go. It's doing a memory test. And the weird thing is normally you can't see what's on the the external screen and the internal screen at the same time. But when I was running the reference disk, it actually was showing the same thing on both screens. I thought that was kind of weird. So, cool, but weird. And it detected delay in cart because it, actually tested it. So we're going to go back in. So right now what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do copy an option diskette. And what this is going to do is this is actually going to copy the ADF file from the floppy that we have, or that would have been provided with the card, to the reference disk. This way we don't need the second disk every time. So we're going to copy an option diskette. Alright, so we're going to remove the reference disk. And we're going to insert the option disk. Press enter. And I'm using the original reference disk for some stupid reason. I'm not quite sure why. So I actually have to cover the write protect notch hole on this because there is no slide to turn the write protection off. This is one of the reasons you're supposed to back up the reference disk. So we flopped it out, now we're putting the reference disk in, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to write that file to the reference disk. So, and there, it's all done. Simple. So now we're going to go in here to set configuration. Like I told you, like I said in the last video, every adapter card has a configuration that you can set, and it's all dependent on the card that you're using. You could call this a rudimentary plug and play in a way, but it's not quite the same. So now we're going to change configuration. Okay, and here we see in slot 1 we have a LAN adapter A for Ethernet. So now here's where we can choose different options. The only option I'm truthfully really concerned with is the network media connection. Now there's 3 different connections on this card. There's the twisted pair, which is what we're going to use. That's 10 base T or RJ45. And then we have thick Ethernet, which is the 10 base 2. That's the coax. And then thin Ethernet, that would be the AUI. So, or is it the other? Or is, I think the thick internet is the AUI and the thin internet is the coax. I can't remember. It's been a while. So, but these are the only options we need to really worry about. So we know we're going to use twisted pair, which is automatically defaulted to. So that's perfect. So, and then all we have to do is hit F10 to save, and the configuration is complete. And we can exit out of this. We're going to remove the reference disc and take the piece of tape off of the right protect notch. And we're going to reboot again. Now, anytime you have an Ethernet card in one of these things, they do have a tendency to take a little longer to boot. So if you have an Ethernet card, be aware that some cards have an onboard ROM that sometimes it takes a couple of extra seconds to boot from. I shouldn't say boot from, but just in general boot the computer. Because what it does is some of these cards, especially IBM cards, especially the 32-bit ones, have onboard diagnostics that they test the card every time the computer starts up. Which is what that message is right there. And then we're going to load DOS. And truthfully, there's not really much I can do at the moment with the network card. Except to know that it is there. Because I don't have any TCP IP stacks or anything like that loaded at the moment. Oh, I got this in black and white. I like Ocean. So, we can go into the DOS directory here, and I don't think there's really any... Don't believe there's any networking utilities part of Windows, or I'm sorry, DOS 7. I said I'm running IBM DOS 7. This is the last official true DOS version that was made. Microsoft stopped at DOS 6.22. IBM made one or two more versions. They made PC DOS 7, which came out in I think 95, and then they made PC DOS 7 version 1 or revision 1, which is PC DOS 2000. So yeah, I don't see any networking utilities here, so we'll have to I do have some Microsoft network utilities that I can install that will help me set up a Microsoft network, and somewhere along the line that will allow me to hopefully connect this computer to my network in general through TCP/IP, and or I'm just going to have to download a DOS-based TCP/IP stack. That's pretty easy, and then I can just basically I can set the computer to have I can map this drive, so let's say I'm going to map this drive here. I can map this as a network drive, and then I can just truthfully I can just copy stuff right from my Mac right to the IBM over the Ethernet. At least that's kind of my plan, and in a rudimentary way I could even get on the internet with it. So it's only 10 megs a second, and obviously a 38620 is not going to be very fast. So but that is what we're dealing with now. So the adapter card's installed, and I just want to show you what kind of memory we're running here. So as you see, we have 8192K. This is, when you're working with DOS, this conventional memory here, this is what you need to worry about. This is the first 640K of memory, which is what the original IBM PC used, could max out at. You want as much of this here free as you can. So, and this will help with running the TCP/IP stack, because with the extended memory, we can use that. We could use this as a RAM disk. We could use a certain portion of this as a RAM disk. Like, I could use 4 megs of it as a RAM disk, and I could actually use that for a cache to help speed up like large transfers and anything like that I want to do. I can do let's see, a RAM disk 4096, and we're going to make it drive Z. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called RAM drive. Oh, that's right. The IBM version is different than DOS, Microsoft. So you go into RAM setup, and it will do all kinds of funky stuff that you want it to do. I'm not going to go through that right now. So there's a system file here that I can add to the config sys for a RAM drive. So, which basically it'll be RAM drive device equals RAM drive.sys, and then I could do a 4096, which is 4 megabytes, and then assign it to drive letter Z, which will basically give me a 4 meg Z drive that I could use as a swap space. People used to do this a lot on Mac SEs, Mac Pluses, especially the ones that had 4 megabytes of memory. You could assign 1 megabyte of memory as a RAM disk and use it kind of like as a slush space swap file area. So it really does speed things up. So, but that's all for today. The next video is probably going to come out over the weekend, and we're going to go through running Windows 3.1 on a PS2. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.